quarterly meeting of the Council as trustees of Sandwich Tollbridge Fund, and the agenda item number 1 is apologies for absence received, Town Clerk.
Thank you. Yes, Mr Mayor, we have apologies from Councillor Pennington, Councillor Anderson and Councillor Fortescue.
Thank you very much. Item number 2 is declarations of interest, to receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interests from members in respect of business to be transacted on the agenda tonight. Do I have any? That is none. Thank you, Town Clerk. Item number 3 is the minutes of the previous meeting. To approve the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Sandwich Tollbridge Fund as trustee of Sandwich Tollbridge Fund held on the 31st of July 2023, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes and not covered elsewhere in this agenda. And that is attachment number 1.
Recommend approval, Mr Chair.
Thank you for that. Do I have a seconder? That's good. And all those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you very much.
Mr Chair, can we do, if everyone in agreement, can we do items 4 and 5 on block?
Indeed, I was just going to suggest that. Thank you, Councillor Marie. So, item number 4, payment schedules. 4A, to approve the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund payment schedule for August. Item 4B, to approve the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Guildhall payment schedule for August. And item 4C, to approve the Museum and Archives payment schedule for August. These are attachments 2A, 2B and 2C. And as suggested, we can take these forward. I had one query on item 4B. I don't know if this can be taken back to the responsible financial officer, but attachment 2B had 15 wedding deposit returns, all listed as one item. I just wondered why 15 had all been. We've either had quite a lot of weddings all at once, or we've delayed sending them.
I think there was a delay in sending those, so it was catching up with refunding.
Yeah. Oh right, that's
yeah.
okay. We haven't had 15 weddings in
No.
1 weekend.
No.
That's good. Councillor Green?
Yeah, could I just
don't
comment?
stand for this one. So.
Well, could I just comment on that, because I was surprised to see so many weddings kind of cancelled, and I wondered whether it was related to the bus stop, because people have their wedding processions going into the courtroom there, and I'm just got this niggling concern that there is a consequential impact to the revenues in respect, because the other thing, when I actually look at the revenues, the revenue from the hire of the Guildhall and so forth is budgeted at 55,000, and in the first 4 months of the year we've had 11,000. So projecting that forward, we would have 33,000 for the year, which would be a shortfall of over £20,000. So I'm concerned that we are looking at a deficiency there. I also note that there is an over expenditure of £10,000 on insurance, and I also note that there is a major overspend on salaries already projected at 42,000. So we're getting a double whammy here of less income and more expenditure. And I'm just concerned as to who is actually managing the Tollbridge Fund. Is this properly covered by the Finance and General Purposes Committee, or should we have another Finance Committee looking at the Tollbridge Fund?
No, it should be, first of all, Councillor Green, the items are not cancellations, they're deposits being returned. So people pay £50 and then they get it returned. So it's not detrimental to...
No, but why would they pay the deposit?
They have to pay a deposit.
They have to pay a deposit.
They have to pay a deposit. We hold the deposit, and if nothing is broken, it gets paid back to them. So that's that one. The second item to do with the finances must be raised for the Finance and Heritage Committee. So it will be down to them to make a recommendation. That is what they're constituted to do. So
The Finance and Heritage
Finance and
Committee.
general purpose.
Finance and general purposes, sorry, beg your pardon. Finance and general purposes.
Sorry, could I just clarify that?
Indeed,
If we talk about
yes.
STBF funds,
Yeah.
surely it's managed by us within this group, or am I completely missing something?
It's not on the agenda for tonight to discuss it, but you can either raise it for the next meeting, can you not?
Yeah, so I think there used to be a finance committee,
Yes.
It did.
STBF.
It did,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
if that's what members, and it could be an agenda item for a future
Yeah.
STBF agenda,
Yeah.
if that's what members think is necessary,
That's
that could be
right,
reinstated.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant actually.
Thank you.
So-
Sorry, I almost.
Beg your
thought of
pardon,
that.
yeah, that's
The
what
last
I
3
meant,
months,
yeah.
I got it all completely wrong.
Councillor Morehouse,
I
sorry.
brought a proposal forward at the beginning of the year to abolish the
Quiet
STBF.
please.
I brought a proposal forward at the beginning of the year to abolish the STBF Finance Committee because I believe that as we're all trustees, we should all have a say in the finances of the STBF. If anyone agrees with that, or whether going forward we'll reconfigure the Finance Committee.
Indeed. So somebody can bring a proposal forward to the STBF trustee meeting to say that they would like to investigate these finances. Is that clear? Councillor Wiles?
If you recall, the Finance and General Purposes agreed a list of priorities for the year, one of which was to investigate the relationship between the Town Council, the Tollbridge Fund, the Museum, etc. So that's on our radar. But I do think we need to look at in more detail the fees that we charge for the hire of this building. We need a report to this Tollbridge Fund probably at the next meeting or the meeting after, because I think some of those fees are not right. We need to
Indeed.
think about the income and whether we're getting the best
Yeah,
return on
that
this-
has
this
been
property.
raised and that will be addressed. Thank you for that. So items 4A, 4B and 4C, could I have a proposer and seconder for that? Proposer, Councillor Marie, and a seconder for the items, Councillor Franklin. So, and all those in favour? Sorry, we've
Two
got three abstentions. Thank you very much, that was carried. Item number 5, finances and investments. And 5A, to receive and approve the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Statement of Accounts at 31st of July 2023. Item 5B, to receive and approve the Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Guildhall Statement of Accounts as at 31st of July 2023. Item 5C, to receive and approve the Sandwich Guildhall Museum Statement of Accounts as at 31st of July 2023. And 5D is to receive and approve the Quilter Cheviot Assets Management Monthly Investment Report as at 31st of July 2023. These are attachments 3A, 3B, 3C and 3D, and we can take these en bloc. I need a proposer and a seconder.
Sorry, could I just comment
Indeed,
about
you can.
the
You can.
museum account? I understand from my conversations with the RFO that the museum, although we've got an account, we don't have a budget. So there should be, in my mind, there should be a budget for the museum.
Indeed.
And I don't know whether this is going to be part of the museum and archives committees, but I understood that the remit for that committee was being drafted.
That's correct. Well, that's good. Thank you for pointing that out, Councillor Green. Have we made a note of that? Has it raised that? Oh, thank you. Okay, so that's been proposed, and did you second it, Councillor Green?
No, well, what I would like, to do is, well, personally, I think I'd like to abstain or vote against
Okay.
the museum part because they don't produce an account and or produce a budget, and I think we should ask the museum manager to work with the RFO to
Yeah.
produce a proper budget, especially as we're kind of getting into the budget season going forward.
Indeed. Thank you for that. So items 5A, 5B and 5C have been proposed. Did we have a seconder for that? We're doing the first three. I think Councillor Marie, did you propose?
Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Franklin, did you second it? Thank you. Okay. All those in favour of 5A, 5B, 5C? 3 abstentions. Thank you very much. And then item 4, was it? And then item 5D to receive. Sorry, I did get that wrong, didn't I?
You need to do 5D now.
Yeah, I need to do 5D now. To receive the above and approve the Quilter Cheviot Assets Management Monthly Investment Report as at 31st of July 2023. Could I have a proposer and a seconder for this? Thank you. And seconded. And all those in favour? Okay, item number 6, loan of items from Sandwich Guildhall Museum. And this are members to consider a report from the museum coordinator in relation to a loan request received from the Kent Mining Museum for living seam, and the decision is required. This is attachment number 4, and I would just like to say this is to approve a loan of Kitchener camp items for the Living Seams temporary exhibition, which is a part of the Mining Museum which is at Falmead, and it does constitute or come under part of the access policy for the museum. Councillor Black.
Thank you. I've been in communication with Councillor Anderson about this. She is very enthusiastic that we do have a loan out, and I think most of us would be, because it's something valuable. What we are very concerned about is this is a second attempt to bounce us into accepting a 5-year policy on behalf of the museum without any discussion whatsoever. Now, if a policy is really needed for this, and it's a bit dubious, I think section 8 of the particular policy would need to be, and that's the loans out, then I would propose that we grant that for a 3-month period to allow it to progress, but that the Heritage and Townscape Committee, and if it's when it sets up a Museum and Archives Committee, actually needs to debate these and agree them. I would be very unhappy that this is we just bounced into it for 5 years. That is not an acceptable way to work. It's a relatively straightforward loan, and the author of much of it is in great favour of it and wants it to happen, but not by being bounced into a 5-year policy.
Okay, sure. Was that a proposal by yourself? Proposal. Thank you very much. So do I have a seconder for Councillor Black's proposal at all? So that would be for the loan to go ahead, but only based on the policy being in action for 3 months, so it can be reviewed. Are you happy to second that, Councillor Breen? Thank you for that. All those in favour?
One abstention.
2 abstentions. So that's passed. Thank you. Okay. Item number 7, Sandwich Tollbridge Fund Investment Summary. Members to consider a report from the RFO and note the information for future decision making. This was attachment number 5. I do know that the RFO went to quite some trouble to produce this for us, and she was saying that she was hoping that it would be of good use for the council to see, from our point of view, the income and expenditure and the drawdowns that have taken place. And I just wanted to make you aware with this that, you know, it's the income from 2008 to date, and obviously the greatest losses were during a previous administration in 2021 to 22, and then which I believe was up to £260,000. But obviously you can see that the values and the increases have come back up, and so obviously in 2021 to 22 there was like a need for that change to the finances of Sandwich Tollbridge Fund. So we're asked to just note this report, so I'm looking for a proposer and a seconder to note
Sorry,
this.
can I just comment on that?
Indeed.
You know, that was what I was saying to the gentleman Howard when he came earlier, because you will note from this there's been over £1 million in drawdowns, £1,058,000 in drawdown, and near 571,000. So the value of the fund has stayed pretty constant,
Indeed.
but obviously with inflation it's been eroded because the purchasing power of the money is reducing significantly.
It has. Thank you for that, Councillor Green. So, are you proposing to note it?
No, I'd like to comment.
Oh, sure, indeed. Please continue.
I think the looking at the accounts for the Tollbridge Fund, the property aspects within that, the Tollbridge Fund owns many properties, but I think the values of those need to be looked at to get the true picture of the total assets, not just the equity and this fund, but the wider assets. I think we also need to look at the way we deal with Quilter Cheviot, you know, what the historic relationship is with them, whether that should continue or whether we should look at other fund managers. So these are all questions I think that this Tollbridge Fund needs to think about for the future.
Indeed.
Because a bit like internal audit, we need to maybe refresh the way you do things every now and then.
And who are the auditors for the Tollbridge Fund? You know, is this going to be more Albury and Co?
Yeah.
And the
Indeed.
historic return 2% so is not great, so
No.
perhaps we could do better if we looked at elsewhere.
Yeah, but it's 2% plus the drawdown, so it's over 6%. So we just need to be careful.
Well, that is as I say, that is a question for a future agenda that can be put forward by trustees from this meeting tonight. So I'm asking for a proposer and a seconder to note the figures that the RFO has put before us tonight.
I think we should be thanked too for doing this.
Indeed, we should. Yeah. So are you proposing it, Councillor? And Councillor Tuke was seconding it. All those in favour of the report from the RFO? Thank you. Okay, that's carried. Thank you very much. Item number 8, and so I don't upset anybody, is confidential matters under the Public Bodies Admissions to Meetings Act 1960, extended by Section 100 of the Local Government Act 1972. The public may be excluded from the meeting for the following items of business on the grounds that they involve the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in Part 1 of Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972 by virtue of the paragraph specified against the item. Information relating to commercial sensitivity within a specific proposed project. I have a proposer,
Propose.
thank you, and a seconder for going into confidential, Councillor Ripley, seconding. And could you signify if you're happy to go into confidential? Any against? No, that's carried, thank you.